some positive Iowa football news to report on this Monday. We'll get to the news regarding Iowa receiver Nico Ragaini in a moment. But first, a reminder to check out our sponsor and their mold and mycotoxin-free coffee. This is Ascent Nutrition, the company. It's owned by a former Hawkeye, former U of I graduate Lance Shuttler. You're supporting not only a former Hawkeye, you're supporting this channel from the Hawkeye of the Storm, and you're treating yourself to some premium coffee. Visit goascentnutrition.com. That's goascentnutrition.com. And at checkout, use the code Hawkeyes. That's the code Hawkeyes to receive 15% off your total order. So you may get some coffee and maybe check out some other awesome products as well. So the news on this Monday evening, according to a source, Nico Ragaini has been cleared to play. This source telling me that he practiced today and is available for Saturday. Now, the asterisk here is will Kirk Ferentz and Brian Ferentz and his coaching staff go forward with Nico Ragaini logging a large amount of snaps on Saturday? It is the most winnable game on the schedule. Now, I would argue that they need to get Nico Ragaini going. If he is cleared to go, which according to this source he is, I am not holding him back for anything as long as he's not at risk of re-aggravating the foot. Of course, he was out with the foot injury for a couple of weeks, and this is right on schedule. Reportedly back ready for the Nevada game here in week 3, and they need his help. What does this mean for Iowa moving forward and this struggling offense? Nico Ragaini is a veteran. He is the leader in that wide receiver room. You would have to think he's got some solid chemistry with Spencer Petras, although Nico didn't play great last year. Arguably his best season, I don't think really arguably, his best season was his freshman year. And so he's got to step up, and they need him in a desperate way. They're still down Keegan Johnson, Deontay Vines, although Johnson speculated to be maybe close to returning soon. I would guess he won't be back against Nevada. But if you can get Ragaini back this week, maybe get Keegan Johnson back the following week, and maybe by the time you get to Michigan, maybe Deontay Vines is coming around, that will help. I do think having a familiar body there for Spencer Petras, could that settle him down? When you hear about how well he plays in practice, and I know people don't like to hear that, and I don't like to hear that, frankly, but if his fundamentals are there in practice and they're going away when the lights turn on, that tells me something's not clicking upstairs. And it doesn't help when you have a bunch of receivers who you're comfortable with out, and now you're trying to play with these walk-ons like Alec Wick and Jack Johnson, who frankly probably didn't play much with Spencer Petras, not only last fall, but in the spring and even during parts of fall camp. So not making excuses for Spencer, assuming Spencer is the starter. And for the record, I've been very clear that I believe it's time to exercise Iowa's other options. I do think you saw the depth chart that came out today. If you missed it, Spencer Petras is listed as your starter. Doesn't necessarily mean anything. Kirk Ferentz has not necessarily stuck to his depth charts through 2 weeks, so would not be shocked to see someone else come in. However, I could see the return of Nico Ragaini and potentially the imminent return of a guy like Keegan Johnson. I could see Kirk Ferentz using that as an excuse or a reason, however you want to classify it, an excuse or a reason to continue with Spencer, get his weapons back around him, and then we'll evaluate him. Kirk Ferentz talked during the press conference. Again, he said this a couple times now, that he doesn't feel that Spencer has been able to be evaluated properly because the pieces around him are either hurt or not performing well. And I just don't agree with that. I mean, he's the head coach. That's fine. But if you're down guys around Spencer Petras or your offensive line's not performing, then great quarterbacks, or at least good quarterbacks, they find a way to make plays and make up for those losses, right? Spencer Petras is not capable of doing that. At least he's not shown to be capable of doing that. A guy who's mobile, I would think, there's a possibility he's able to make plays, especially Joey Labus, who's kind of known for being innovative and making plays on the fly. And I'm sure that makes Kirk Ferentz really nervous. But I could see this being a scenario where they allow Spencer Petras to continue starting with the hopes that, hey, we get these receivers back and Spencer will start playing better. I don't agree with that, but it is good news, I think, that Nico Ragaini is back. All right. Now, I know what some fans are going to be thinking. If my theory is correct, that Nico Ragaini returning actually helps Spencer Petras' shot at remaining the starting quarterback, I can understand why some people may cringe when they hear this news. But this is what Iowa needs, its receivers back, regardless of who's at quarterback, because, man, they are just decimated there. So, again, the news on this Monday evening, Nico Ragaini reportedly cleared to play. He practiced today Will he be a full go Saturday? I'm sure that's, if he stays on track throughout the week, no setbacks. I'm sure it will be a decision by the coaching staff whether they want to throw him out there against Nevada or hold him off one more week, then kind of get a tune-up against Rutgers. But boy, are you real confident with Iowa at Rutgers? I think you get him back now as long as there's no real risk of him relapsing. Appreciate you tuning in to another edition of the show. Week 203 of Bradis Branded Thoughts, which features Iowa guard Tony Perkins. Stay tuned. Tons of content on the way, folks. And we know on Wednesday we'll have a live show, a live edition of Hawkeye Hangout, 9 p.m. Central Time right here. Hawkeye Hangout live Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central Time right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm.